Okay guys, welcome back to the layout. We're doing a project update today. I've done a project update before and I'll probably do some more of them down the road. In a project update, I'm not showing the full DCC install or a whole how-to video. I'm really just hitting some of the highlights of some of the things that I'm working on. And what I have for you first today is a Walthers train line. This is an F40PH and it is in the Chicago Metro paint scheme. Now, I've lived in the Chicago area my entire life. I grew up just outside the city of Chicago, and I've seen a lot of these. And Metro still has quite a few of these in service today. They've retired some of them and replaced them with F59s and MP36s, but there's still quite a few of them out there. I was actually on a Metro passenger train going down to Chicago this past week seeing the Bears play, and this was the type of engine that was pulling the train. So I've done some DCC work, as you can imagine. I've put in mobile decoder, sound, and I did some work here with the lights. You can probably see some of the holes here in the video. I'm going to turn this on here real quick, and you can see what it looks like. The light might show up a little bit different in the video, but as you can see, there's a LED headlight, LED ditch lights. There's a LED Mars light, and there's a, I'm not sure if you can see it, there's a rotary light at the top. There you go, now you can see it. And when I press the horn, the ditch lights do oscillate. And when I put it in reverse, I do get the red backup lights. Now, this is prototypical for the Chicago Metro engines. They do have them lit up like a Christmas tree. This engine really wasn't DCC friendly. It wasn't light friendly. I had to drill out all these holes. I mean, the headlight was there, but I had to drill that out to put the LEDs in. The Mars light, they left a spot for it, but I still had to drill that out. Of course, for the ditch lights and backup lights, I had to drill all those out. Now, these are slightly out of position. They should be towards the edge of the train a little bit more, and they should be a little bit lower, but basically what I had to work with as far as positioning was what I have here. So, and the same with the rotary light in the top. This typically is where the air conditioning units would be, and the rotary light would be closer to the horn and the Mars light. But like I said, space was limited in there. There's a giant weight, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, and there was some plastic tabs that was in here, which actually connects the plastic body to the metal frame that I had to take out. So what I'm going to do now is notch it up here real quick so you guys can hear it. These have head-end power, HEP, so they would typically run at notch 8. I'm still tweaking the Sound Project a little bit to give it a little bit more volume, but that's pretty much what it's going to sound like. And what's nice about it is that speed step 1, it moves at a crawl. And same thing, I'll put it in speed step 1 here, going in reverse. Okay, here's what the inside of the locomotive looks like. There was a stock light board that looked like this. They had 4 screws in place I took out and unsoldered the wires. Paul C. down in Louisiana, this was an idea I got from one of your photographs. This is a piece of styrene that I glued in place. I forget how thick it was, but it holds everything very nicely. I then set a Digitrax DH165 board, which is the green one you see here, and set all the wires back into it, track power in the front and back, and then the power for the wires for the motor. And then I set in all of the LEDs. These are 2mm LEDs that I use in a lot of my videos. They're from LEDswitch.com. 6 80 ohm resistors, 1/2 watt, and they're in there in the shrink wrap. Since the Trane stock wires were not NMRA standards, I decided just to stay with it and just use red and blue wires for the various different, although normally you'd see a white for the front headlight, a yellow for the rear headlight, green and violet for F1 and 2, and so on and so forth. I like using the DH165 boards. They're really my favorite decoders for mobile decoders. They're a little bit longer than, let's say, the DH123 chips from Digitrax, but they're a lot thinner. They seem to sit in the locomotives a lot better because they are a lot thinner. The other thing that I like about them is that the speed table on these right out of the package are great. I mean, you saw it just a moment ago, crawl at speed step 1. That was with no programming to the speed table, so most of these that I install, I have very little manipulating of the speed table, if any at all, so that's a big plus for me. Normally I would stick a SFX004 soundbug here in the back. I happen to have an SFX0416, which is very similar, so I just set that here alongside of it. I really like doing the 2 decoder setup because I can program mobile functions and sound functions separately. I mean, they both eventually end up with the same address, but I can have them, as an example, I could have the prime mover notch all the way up, but have the locomotive start at a real, slow crawl, or going back the other way. The prime mover can notch down, but the locomotive will slowly come to a stop. In this particular example, although I really didn't need them, there's a whole other set of wires that are on here that I could use for various different light functions. So if I ran out of light functions, I've used them all up on this. And let's say, not that I wanted to do this in this particular example, let's say I wanted to put rear ditch lights on here. I have more functions that I can assign different CV values to different parts of the locomotive. For example, like I said, the rear ditch lights, if I wanted to do something like that. So running 2 decoders is really, really cool. You have some programming options, you have some effects options that you normally wouldn't have just using one decoder. This is a stock Digitrax speaker. I was going to use, actually try fitting in here, a 2-watt Soundtrax Megabass speaker. It was just a little too thick. I did one of these Metro engines before where I did use one of these, but I had to mill down the weight quite a bit with a Dremel, which took forever, and I figured, you know what, this one will work just fine without milling all that down. So I may go back and do that, but for right now that's where it's at. Okay, this is the second project I'm working on. I'm revisiting a locomotive I had worked on a while back. This is an Althorn Blue Box F7, and previously I put in 5mm LED headlight and Mars light, and a 2mm LED rotary light on the top. I installed a Digitrax 164D decoder and a Soundtrax 2-watt Megabass speaker. I've kind of gotten away from using these 164 decoders from Digitrax. They're part of their economy series, and they're having some quality issues with them, running with the back EMF and some slowdown with the horn and bell. They seem to kind of burn up a little easier too than some of the other decoders, so I've gotten away from them. It works okay in this locomotive, and actually one of the other Metro locomotives I worked on, I installed one. It actually worked out pretty well, but overall I've gotten away from using them again for some of the quality issues. But that's actually not what I'm changing out in this locomotive. What I'm actually changing out is the drive. If you go back to the video where I worked on this, it had an older Althorn drive with no flywheels on, and we acquired a newer drive and chassis, and basically just doing a transplant of the decoder and resoldering some of the wires to the various different parts of the engine, as you can see. So I'll get these two put together and get them back to their owners, And that's pretty much all I got for this time, so I'll see you guys next time.